Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Zoe Muro. And now, here's Zoe.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the New Thought Media Network. My name is Zoe Muro. I am delighted and I am honored to be your host today for Choice, Your Creative Superpower. We come to you each week from Oakland, California, 12 noon Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time. What do we do here? Well, what we do is we explore how wielding your superpower for the greatest good, your ability to choose, can co-create a most fulfilling life experience. Well, hello, Shay. Good to see you. All right. So, for those of you who are coming back, like Shay, thank you so much. It's great to see you here again. If this is your first time, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm a religious science practitioner with the New Thought Media Network. I'm also a transformational coach. Both my ministry as a practitioner and my mission as a coach are to help people to live their lives to the fullest. Today, episode 68. We're going to begin an exploration of the relationship between choice and goals. Now, honestly, this topic is going to be extremely difficult for me because I could talk for days about goals, but I'm just going to focus on the relationship between goals and choice, not getting into a lot of discussion about how to set and achieve goals. But having said that, when we talk about how your choices affect your goals, we have to look at aspects of how to work with your goals so that they can be most effective. Okay, now, there's one point that I want to clear up right away because this trips people up all the time. And, you could call it a matter of semantics. Regardless of whether you do or not, you need to understand the term as I am using it. And that is, I see that there is a difference between an outcome and a goal. In its simplest terms, an outcome is what you want to achieve, while a goal is what you do to achieve an outcome. Okay, so even if you think of them differently, that's the way I'm using them in this particular context so that there's no confusion. Okay. Now, when I work as a transformational coach, well, come to think of it even as a practitioner, but specifically as a transformational coach, people are coming to me looking for a change. They want to transform some aspect of their life. It could be something as straightforward and clear-cut as I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to be able to carry heavy boxes from the car to the garage, or it could be more involved. It could be, I want to be more sociable. Now, each of those sounds like a perfectly legitimate goal until you consider the doing part of it. What I mean is this. To lose 20 pounds, you have to do something. Otherwise, you could just express that thought and boom, you're 20 pounds lighter. I don't think that works. The same is true for being strong enough to transport those boxes. You can easily say, oh, okay, I'm stronger. That doesn't happen. You have to actually do something to bring about that particular outcome. And it's even more involved if the idea about being more sociable. What does that mean? What would it look like? How would your life be different? Okay, so point is that none of these is actually a goal. They're all outcomes of different sorts. So, first choice that you can make is to accept that in order to achieve an outcome, you need to accomplish something. It could be something that's additive, or it could be a subtraction or release. I'm not going to count unusual circumstances like, oh, I want to be a millionaire, and your long lost relative leaves you a stack of gold bars. Because, like, well, first of all, you didn't actually achieve anything other than, I guess, you had a really wonderful relationship with that relative, I suppose. But I believe you can see the distinction, right? That was not something that you actually applied to do in any way, shape, or form. It happened. Hey, good things happen too. And, sorry about the long lost relative. Want to lose weight? Okay. Now, I want to pause here for a moment before I launch into this particular part of this exploration. I want to be very clear about something. I am not looking to blame or shame anyone when I talk about weight. Nor does a certain weight necessarily mean you're healthier than someone else who isn't at that weight. There are there are absolutely circumstances and conditions which adversely affect weight. But what I am looking at here for this example are things that are within our ability to pursue or avoid. Okay, so with that, there are likely additive things that you would need to choose to do. Additive meaning that's additional things beyond what you're already doing to attain and maintain a healthy weight. So, for example, monitoring your food intake, developing a healthier diet. And when I say diet, I am always talking about the noun. That is the way you eat, as opposed to the verb for restrictive eating. Now, there are things that you could choose to avoid or not do, which would be subtraction or release, such as not eating a whole pint of ice cream in one serving, or mindlessly putting away a bag of chips or crisps while watching a show, or telling yourself, oh, I'm just big boned. And again, only reason I chose weight for this example is that it's very straightforward. Everybody understands and knows what it means to lose weight or gain weight for that matter. Now, this leads me to another choice, which will have a significant effect on whether or not you can achieve an outcome, which is to become clear and, if need be, better educated or better informed about a little thing I like to call cause and effect. Okay. Now, I wanted to use weight management as an example. If you'll excuse this, I'm going to kind of veer off the topic a bit because I want to talk about how achieving a goal is more than just about determination. There can be a number of different factors and a number of different choices which make a goal more or less likely to be achieved. An interesting phenomenon that occurs around holidays in particular is weight gain. Okay. So I want to check out these stats that I found in a recent survey. Let me bring this up. Okay. 48% of people say that they've eaten so much that they had to undo a button on their pants or loosen a belt. 45% said they have eaten more than one of the same meal in a day. 39% say they've eaten until they felt sick. unwell or full to bursting, and 39% deliberately wore stretchy clothes to accommodate overeating. See, now that's not what you would call things that are done to you. These are things that are about your own control, things about your choices. Okay. What's really interesting is that studies have shown, despite popular belief, the amount of weight that is gained over the holidays on average is actually fairly small. It's about 2 pounds. Although you probably know people who put on more than that during the holidays. And of course, even if you just gain a couple of pounds and you do nothing to get rid of it, over time, that's going to be a significant weight gain. But we've also seen a similar issue during COVID. When you look at COVID weight gain stats, the picture gets really distressing. Check this one out. 42% of U.S. adults reported undesired weight gain since the start of the pandemic, with an average gain of 29 pounds. Again, that is to a very great extent a matter of choice. Right? Not always, but often. By the way, that study was conducted by the APA, the American Psychological Association. Now, for a number of people during the pandemic, there were just too many factors that were stacked against them, which was, and quite frankly, still is particularly true for people in lower economic brackets. But for many others, it was based on the choices they made to do or not to do the things that would make a difference for them. Okay. So, why do we get into all of this? We get into this because it's important when you want to set a goal for yourself that you ask yourself some very specific questions. Okay, let me bring this one up. Why am I choosing this goal? Why am I choosing it now? What is it that I want the outcome to be? What is or are the benefits of that outcome? These are all important questions to ask. Okay. Applying what we explored in last week's episode on motivation, we know that choosing goals that align with your values can create a greater likelihood that you'll be motivated and stay motivated to complete the associated tasks. Okay. So choice fits in across the board. It fits in terms of what you're going to choose as a goal. It fits in terms of what you do to choose to do to support that goal. All right. All of these things come into play. So how do you ensure that you're choosing goals that are in alignment with your values? Okay. That assurance can come from a number of different sources. But first and foremost, awareness. Awareness of who you truly are at your core. Awareness of your divine birthright. Awareness of community. Awareness of your place in the world. There are, you can imagine that there are any number of ways to bring about that awareness, but I have one method in particular that I really enjoy using with my clients. It helps them to focus and to clarify their thinking, and that's visioning. Okay. I would imagine that a number of you are very familiar with this practice, and some of you might not be. But here's a simple description about what visioning is all about. Visioning gives direction and a glimpse over our life Why? So that we can provide a clear vision in support of our goals and purpose so that they may become a reality. Okay. We're looking for a framework. We're looking for our North Star, if you will. Once you have a vision in place, and you can do this text, you can do it using artwork, you can do photos, you can use graphics, but I would recommend that it becomes some sort of a physical entity of some sort, regardless of what that form takes, right? As opposed to, I have it, it's in my head. No, put it out on paper or something, all right? It really makes a huge difference, okay? Because once you get this thing out there and you can use it for your focus, you can then use it as a proofing mechanism to ensure that you have created the most appropriate and most effective goals to pursue. Sometimes I'll use visioning as the start to a transformational process. Other times we'll actually go the other way and we'll extrapolate a vision from the goals. It all depends on what works for that individual. And to be very clear about this, visioning and goals, they don't have to be this grandiose, overarching view of your entire life. All right, that sometimes trips people up. They go, oh, a vision. Come on. I don't know what I want to do 5 years from now. I don't know what I want to do 2 months from now. Okay. Is there something important now? Is there something that you look out over the next week, month, whatever it might be? Is there a circumstance, a condition? All right. So I ask people, don't worry about your entire life in terms of this grand vision, although you might very well have one. But when you're trying to set goals, you want to be able to set goals within a certain confine, within a certain, what's the word I want? Boundary. Okay. So I usually ask people to set a time frame. All right. I'm looking out over the next month, the next quarter, the next year, the next 5 years. I usually don't go past 5 years when it comes to setting goals, because except for certain things like financial goals, most of the others require more up close and in time discussion. Okay. But once you do have a clearer understanding of what you desire, we create a map of sorts, right? And we outline steps along the journey. We call those steps goals. Now, as is the case with pretty much all journeys, there can be setbacks, there can be detours, there can be obstacles, there can be postponements. So choosing to accept that variability and then choosing to be willing to adapt and choosing to be willing to revise accordingly can be the difference between stalling out and being able to move forward. Now, here's another example. Let's say you've created a goal to read a certain kind of difficult text each day. All right, so I'm not talking about something that you're reading for fun. I'm talking about something that you have to read either for a certification or to get a deeper understanding of something that's very interesting to you, very important to you, but difficult to comprehend. Okay, so you create a goal for yourself. All right, I'm going to read this text every day. And you further refine it by saying, I'm going to do that for an hour each day. Okay, fair enough. You've established why you wanted to do it. You've established the importance of it. Now, after a week, you read, 3 times, not 7 times. And one of those days was only for 15 minutes, not for an hour. Is that a failure? Is it a bad goal? Poorly created? When I work with people on setting and achieving goals, we take a look at both the days the goal was and was not achieved. There can be valuable information in both circumstances, and that information can inform us on how to move forward. So, what were the circumstances and the commonalities on the successful days, on the less successful days? All right. So, we want to see what's going on, and then by understanding both the negative and the positive results, we can determine whether the goal needs to be modified, and if so, how to modify it. We might even look back at the vision and see if the goal supports the vision's scope and intent. Okay. I have even had situations where people were unable to fulfill a goal. And when we traced it back, we found that it was because it really wasn't in support of the vision, or what they said they wanted when they looked at their vision. When you get right down to what it would take, they're like, not really. All right. So rather than creating all sorts of dead ends for yourself, going through this type of a process can be a wonderful way to bring about change in your life. We often think of it and talk about goals as a conclusion, right? But in reality, there could be any number of steps to get to that one end state. So remember that an end state is like an outcome. All right. So there might be a whole series of things that you need to do in order to bring about a particular goal. So if we looked at those days that it did not happen, for example, or it didn't happen the way you intended, or it wasn't as successful, well, we can understand where the shortfall was, because there's valuable information in that. And I want you to always bear in mind that one of the hallmarks of the growth mindset, which is so powerful, but one of the hallmarks of the growth mindset is celebrating the process, celebrating the learning just as much, maybe even more than one celebrates the success. In an earlier episode, we explored self-care. So a couple of weeks back. This is a perfect time to remind you that self-care at times means choosing self-compassion. That means allowing yourself the freedom to explore, the freedom to take chances, to push yourself ever onward as you align with your capital T truth, the truth that is within. Now, this week, we've been looking at how our choices affect our goals. I'm going to continue this conversation next week because I'd like to explore how our goals affect our choices. Right? I told you there's a lot to be said here. So by all means, if there's any aspect of what we covered today that you'd like me to explore further, or if you have any ideas regarding how goals affect choice, let me know. Let me give you my email address here. Hang on. There we go. You can send me an email at zodemuro@gmail.com. And, I am available as a practitioner for sessions or as a coach. I'm available for discussion, for prayer, for speaking engagements. Okay. Same address to get to any of those, zodemuro@gmail.com. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. If there is anything that you would like to suggest as a topic, let me know. I'm always interested in hearing what types of things you would be interested in knowing. All right, let me go here. Oh, you're very welcome, Shane. Oh, yes, Wayne is here. Hey, Wayne, good to see you. This is a good point from Wayne. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Well said. Well said. Let me see. Oh, okay. I wanted to show you a couple of quotes to bring this to a close for today. So let me get this here. Okay, first quote is from Thomas Alva Edison. It says, if we did all the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. We have so much more ability, so much more capability than we give ourselves credit for. And then we have this quote from Michelangelo. The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. I love that one. All right, folks. So, by all means, take a look around the New Thought Media Network today. It's about 40 hours each week of programming. Wonderful shows. A typical Thursday, for example, you'll see Reverend Gina's show. You'll see Ken Ludwig's show. Reverend Brock has a show. All of these people bring their uniqueness. They bring their specific viewpoint and personality and brilliance to our network. And why do we do this? We do this because we want to bring the joy, the possibilities, the abundance that New Thought can focus on so well. We want to bring that to the entire world, literally to the entire world. If you can support us in that effort, that would be wonderful. You can go to ntmedia.org/donate. You can help us make this a world that works for everyone. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Remember, we're going to be talking about another aspect of choice and goals. Okay? So until we meet again, choose wisely, choose well. Much love. And oh my goodness, so many, many blessings. Namaste.
Choice, your creative superpower. We have the power to manifest as we dedicate attention to our thoughts, but often miss opportunity to achieve the greatest good. Your superpower is waiting to be unleashed to unlock a fuller, more rewarding world for all. Join us every Thursday at noon Mountain Time for Choice, your creative superpower with Muro.